Sorry, y'all. For those who might have jumped in, I was having some technical difficulties, so you actually saw me before the countdown started. We're a couple minutes late. Hey, it's okay. It's been a week, but we are here. It's Thursday. I have had one hell of a week, but I don't know about y'all, but I've been looking forward to this all week just so I can sit here for a little bit of time and just kick it with you guys and girls and everyone watching. So, for those who don't know, this is InfoSec Unplugged. My name is Davin Jackson. I am your host. Thank you for joining. Before I introduce my guest, last week we talked about the YNCD conference, so the Youth Conference for Network Defenders. I'm sorry, the YCND. I'm sorry, I keep mixing that up. Joy, don't kill me. But I wanted to just give a quick shout out to them and do the quick rundown again. So, attention, all parents and guardians. Do you have a young cyber enthusiast in your life? We have the perfect event for them. On April 12th, so that's next week, from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., we will host a cybersecurity event just for kids. The Youth Conference for Network Defenders, or YCND, will feature various activities and workshops to help young people learn about cybersecurity and how to stay safe online. We are inviting kids between the ages of 11 and 19 to participate in this exciting event, where they will have the opportunity to learn from experts in the field of cybersecurity, engage in hands-on activities, and network with other like-minded kids. In addition to inviting young participants, we are also seeking sponsors and volunteers to help make this event successful. Okay. If you want to support this important cause, please visit the website to learn more. And I will post the website right here. So we'll do that right there. All right. And tickets for this event are priced at $50 per person and are available for purchase now on our website. But hurry, as space is limited and tickets are selling fast. So parents and guardians, mark your calendars for April 12th, 2023, and get your kids excited about cybersecurity. Together, we can help build a safer and more secure online community for all. So I want to just give a quick applause to them because that is a great thing that they're doing. Shout out to Joy and all the organizers for the youth conference for Network Defenders. And speaking to them earlier this week, they actually blessed me with a sponsor code. So if you go to the website and you go to the YCND Defenders Academy, so ycnd.defendersacademy.io, and then the event details registration, use the code sponsor at checkout and you can get a free ticket. So again, another event to help kids get into cybersecurity, which is something that I am highly passionate about. So again, use the code sponsor and you will get you'll be able to register for free. So I will also remind you of that throughout the show. But again, I just want to shout them out again because I just think it's a very important thing that they're doing is really special. So now with that being said, again, welcome to InfoSec Unplugged. And my guests tonight, they are first and foremost a married couple. Secondly, they are entrepreneurs and they are tech enthusiasts and tech professionals. And I wanted to talk to them about what they're doing. See, I'm kind of rocking their shirt right here tonight. Got to show the support. But I love what they're doing for the tech community. I love how they're doing it in the fashion industry. And I love the fact that they're doing it together as a unit with everything. So I wanted to talk to them about that. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my guests, Jack and Kenau Victor, tech professionals, and also the owners of Techky Apparel. I'm going to get the applause. Hey, y'all. How y'all doing? I'm going to move
it. How y'all doing?
So thank you for joining. Like I said, this is a long time coming. We've been talking. Jack and I have been talking, I think, since like last summer about making this happen. But like I said, thank y'all for joining. It was a no-brainer once I thought I was coming back. And, wanted to make sure y'all, got on the show. So I'm going to let y'all go ahead and introduce yourselves real quick. Ladies first, obviously,
All right. Hi, I'm Kenau V, and that's my name on IG as well. So I am the co-owner of Techky Apparel. And pretty much we're doing a brand that correlates fashion with the tech industry, tech plus fashion. So streetwear, we're wearing some of our merch right now, and we're creating that community in the same way that Supreme created that community for tech. So that we can bridge that generational wealth gap and so that people won't be left behind, especially those that are underrepresented.
Hold on, Ken. Let me get this graphic out the way so they can see the shirt. See the shirt you got on. There you go. All right, so go ahead. I'm sorry. Continue, man. My apologies.
No, you're fine. So yeah, so pretty much for the people who are underrepresented, and even whatever culture you are, because we do promote diversity and inclusion. So anybody that wants to get into tech, but we're sparking that interest through fashion.
That's
Nice.
right. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Jack. Some of you guys may know me, some of you guys probably don't, but I am Jack. I am a technical analyst. I work for a major shipping company, and I am part owner of Techky Apparel as well. I'm behind the designs. Me and my wife, we create designs, dope designs, that sparks that interest. I think our main goal is to, like what she said, is to get more people interested in this tech field, to start to break, or to bridge that, the income gap that we have now, especially in our undeserved communities and stuff like that. So we just keep pushing it. And like Davin said, we're supposed to make this happen since last year, but sometimes good things have to wait,
Right.
So we're here now.
All right. So, okay. So I'm going to change it up so we make sure we get everybody on camera. I don't want to block nobody out and get all the shirts and stuff. So again, thank you for joining. Yes. Like I said, I was, going through some stuff, but hey, we're here now. So, everything happens for a reason. So, I'm interested in hearing, well, first of all, I mean, if y'all, if at any point y'all don't want to answer the question, just tell me mind my damn business. But I'm interested in hearing, how you guys met and got into tech. So let me know the whole origin story. Let me get my cup real quick. And
I know, right?
Get the cup.
so y'all go ahead and let me hear y'all origin story.
You want to break it down?
Wow. Yeah, I guess I could tell half of it. So I met him in college.
Yes.
We were going to Broward College together down in Florida because we're currently in Georgia.
Yeah.
So we met down in Florida at Broward College. And it was it my sophomore year?
I think so.
Yeah. And I seen him. Well, my friend seen him and was friends with him. And then he asked for my number. So he wanted her to introduce us. And it's kind of funny how it's a small world because I was friends with her, but she was friends with Jack. So she was like that middle person. So you can go ahead and talk about how you already started.
So I'll start with you.
You were already in tech.
Interested in tech. I was already interested in tech. My background, I first started off in high school playing football and stuff like that. And I wasn't doing too well in school. And I actually had to have one of my coaches sit me down and be like, hey, listen, I know you're trying to get into this football thing or whatnot like that, but your grades aren't looking too good. But besides your grades, what happens if you have a career-ending type of injury? What else can you see yourself doing outside of playing football? And I had to think to myself, I was like, you know what? I actually fix a lot of stuff around my house. My dad used to have me go over to his friends' houses and fix televisions and computers and stuff like that. Not that I knew what I was doing, but I managed to kind of like work through it and actually get things to work. So therefore, I was like, hey, I think I could see myself doing it. And this was around 2009. So it's crazy because tech was around, but definitely not in the community where I came from. So it wasn't a huge thing. I was just really pretty much shooting for the stars at that point. Finally got my foot in. I was actually working at the hospital in the food service department. I started off from I'm talking about the back of the house. And what transpired was I actually seen some guys who were working on some mobile equipments. And I thought they were a part of the IT group, but come to find out, the hospital had their own IT group. So once I found out who the manager was, I chased him every day. And I found a way to get to them. And when I would see them in the cafeteria, I'll pull up a seat next to them. Hey, can I sit down with you guys? Can I, communicate with you guys? And they were fine. They were open to it. Set me down. They would talk about their IT tickets and their problems and stuff like that. And, I just try to build that communication and build that relationship with them. And eventually what happened was there was a young lady who was working with them who actually moved up to a northern part of Florida. And when the opportunity came, because I kept chasing. And the thing about it too was I try to always have a good relationship with people and always try to be a good, student of people who are ahead of me in life and stuff like that. So what transpired was there was actually at that time, this is like 2 years of me talking and running into this manager trying to get my foot in. And I know some people, when I tell them that story, they always seem to be like, oh man, I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that. But guess what? I did. And look where it got me, to the point where I got so far into tech to the point where I realized I could be in this field without having a degree. And at that time I was able to get in even before I got my certification. But at that time, I was actually working in the operating room of the hospital, and I ran into a doctor who came to me and asked me, he was like, Jack, you know, no offense to the other guys that you work with, but you don't look like you belong in this space here. And I was like, you know, yeah, you're right. And he was like, what do you want to see yourself doing? And I said, well, I've been trying to get into IT for the past 2 years now. And that guy said, give me a second. And, you know, I caught his bluff. I was like, yeah, right. You know, they all say that. And come to find out, he actually got a hold of somebody who was in the HR of IT, which actually communicated with the boss that I've been talking to for the 2 years. And I went against some other college students. And once I finally got that job, he told me that he actually hired me over the students that were coming out of college because of my personality. And he saw that I was hungry. And because I chased him for 2 years, he was like, man, kid, you're resilient. So it was a month that I got you in here. And rest in peace to him, because he ended up passing a couple of years ago. Well, 3 years ago, going on 3 years now. So, but that guy, he got me in. And the main fact, too, that we diversify things is because I know a lot of people like to be about the culture and stuff like that. But to be honest, the guy who got me in was a white guy. So I could not have that, you know, okay, well, it's just everything black. But it was always like, okay, cool. We're just going to kind of combine everything together. And we've been getting into this ever since. So that's how I got in.
Nice. And I guess so a couple things. One, shout out to the friend who was the bridge to bring y'all together. Two, I like Jack, your story about how, you know, you were always doing stuff around the house, because that was similar to me. Like, I found myself being that tinkerer in the house. You know, the one fixing the stuff, like hooking up the video game systems, or hooking up the VCR, and then realizing that you could hook it up to your stereo system to kind of do the surround sound. I mean, I don't know if my mom's probably not on, but she could probably tell you a story how I was in the military and she bought a brand new stereo system and did not open it.
Really?
Did not open it because they were like, we'll just wait till Davin comes home.
That's it, right?
So they literally had it for like months. They literally had it for months, and I come home on leave, and they were like, "Oh, thank gosh you're here. Can you put this together for me?" You know? So, but it's funny when you look back how it was almost like the skills were already there. We just didn't know it. And then to your other point about, you know, being persistent enough, I got my first opportunity at Circuit City. Right. I was their home theater technician. So I was the guy driving around. I was the fire dog tech driving around, hooking up surround sound systems and hooking up TVs and building the TV stands. And there was an opening at the PC bench, and they were going to post it. And I said, well, instead of doing that, why don't you let me do it? Give me a couple more bucks. Y'all can save the money that you were going to spend giving someone else that. And when I'm not doing home theater installs, I'll work the bench. And I say that I always reflect on that, because that was probably the most fun I've ever had in tech, you know, outside of some of the hacking stuff. But to your point, that first supervisor was a white person. So shout out to them too. And I do want to make one thing clear: when we talk about diversifying things and, you know, bringing more people of color, and it's not, again, the opposition will have you think that we're saying just us. That's it.
Correct. Yeah.
But what they're not saying is, you know, we're not saying that. We're saying those of you who are genuine. Correct. Right? There's a thing going on online where there was a job posting, and in the job posting, it said white people. It said U.S. citizens, and in the parentheses it said white. And and I posted something on social media earlier where I said, you're arguing about the validity of this post. Yeah. But what you're not talking about is there are actually people who still think like that.
Right.
Correct.
So when we talk about exposing the gatekeepers and getting rid of that, that's what we're talking about.
Correct.
So again, I feel like every few months we have to come back and clarify it, and it's almost like they don't want to hear. It's like they don't want to hear that part because they're too busy. They're too busy on their soapbox spreading the disinformation. So
that's right. That's so true.
That's my I'm gonna hop off my soapbox now. But okay, so Jack, you always had a mind for tech, and clearly you knew you wanted to get into it. Yeah. Now, Kina, what about you? Were you always interested in tech?
No.
No. Look, now, so I'm gonna ask now. Are you now interested in tech, or are you like my wife, who kind of is like she's interested just so she can kind of follow along and support what I'm saying, but sometimes she's like, "I love you, babe. I know you're watching."
Right.
You know what's funny? Like, he had to get me on the tech bandwagon because I did not like computers. I thought they were hard. I wanted to kind of break them when they would act up. I was confused. But when I got with him and I seen how good he was at tech, and he made it sound simple, he would simplify those terminologies and things like that and help me learn how to troubleshoot. And then when we got into entrepreneurship and wanted to do it for the tech industry, I started to learn so much and find out about all the different opportunities in tech and how it could be great for single mothers, single fathers, and just for anybody who wants to ride this digital era, because everything is going digital. So it's almost like he made me interested, and we kind of got to learn it a little bit by force because everything is becoming more tech-based. So yeah, I think I genuinely do have an interest in it now.
Nice. So now, are you the type, again, my wife, right? So I do the same thing. Like I try to break it down for her, especially when I first got into tech and I was doing more of the help desk stuff. See, there she is. She's like, yeah, she said it's true. I'm like, but seriously, like, when I know I used to annoy her in the beginning, right? So I don't know. I used to watch. We used to watch show House, right? House MD, the doctor, and during the show they always couldn't figure it out. And it always seemed to be sarcoidosis, but whatever. Anyway, they could never figure it out. And then like something would happen throughout the show, and then he'd go, and of course he'd save the life. They saved the day, whatever. Dr. House's team, solved another case, right? I used to call that my house moment because I would be troubleshooting, couldn't fix it. And then I would be laying in bed when we started our 1-bedroom apartment, be like 4:00 in the morning, and I'd go, and at first she was like, what? And I'm like, I figured it out, and I would have to go right there. And then it got to a point where like months later, I would do that again. She's like, you figured it out? Okay. Just don't wake the baby, right?
Exactly.
And now, even though I try to talk to her and she does get her eyes do glaze over every once in a while, I'll notice like we'll go to like a micro center or we'll go somewhere, and she starts speccing things out, right? So she's talking to the rep, and she's like, well, how much memory is in this? And she's like, 120. She's like, I think I need 256 at least to start out. And how about micro SD cards? Can we expand the memory? And sometimes I'm sitting there, right? And I know she's like waiting for me to kind of jump in. And sometimes I just kind of sit back and let it rock because I'm just like, look at this. Somebody,
right?
Catch it on.
Right. But that's great, and to your point, you do have to learn about tech things. Everything is moving to, tech or the cloud or whatever the case may be. And we not only have to learn about it, we have to learn how to secure ourselves because every time you turn around, somebody somewhere is getting attacked or hacked. There was an interesting conversation that I was having earlier today just about, just adversarial tactics. And, it really opened my eyes to how behind we are in general as an industry. But then you going back to the diversity thing, how behind we are as a people because we are not exposed to a lot of this. So we're already as a nation and as an industry playing from behind. But then when you get into the subsets, it's like we're playing from behind, and we really have to ramp it up. So now, Jack, now you got into tech, you moved in. So what was your transition into cybersecurity?
Well, I didn't get into cybersecurity as of yet. I'm currently still studying for it. But that's my end goal right there. My end goal is to get into cybersecurity. That was the joy of breaking into the tech space in general, because what I tell people is you get your feet in and then you end up finding out about more industries or other avenues in the tech space. That's the best part about it. You can start off as a help desk tech, and then you soon find out that, hey, I'm starting to talk to people who work in networking, people who work in the cloud, people who work with cybersecurity. And then you're like, wait a minute, all right, I'm gonna be here for a little bit, but I think I'm gonna just venture off into this. And I realized me and her, and I always tell her that I think her end goal should be cybersecurity as well, because some of the things that we look up, like in general, when we're researching certain things or something might come up on social media, she done solved it before the news even came out. So I'm like, listen, if you could come into cybersecurity and figure out where these things are coming from and how to, I think a lot of women should be getting into cybersecurity if that's the case, because they figure out these things so much, quicker than we do
like
sometimes. They do the stupid around. Meanwhile,
hold on.
Yeah, come on with it.
Come on with it. Hold on. I'm gonna need y'all. I'm gonna need that one because run that one back because
you're the FBI naturally.
Man, look again, babe. I love you.
Yes,
I love you. Right, but Jack, you got a point.
Yeah,
because they will get to the origin of the post. It'd be like it went viral, and they'd be like, viral. I was on this 2 days ago.
Right.
Like, as a professional, like my professional ego be hurt sometimes. I'm like, babe, did you see this? Then like, oh, you're late.
Right. I'm trying to tell you.
Come on, ladies. That's right, ladies.
But but again, they have the mind for it. And the thing with cybersecurity is everybody looks at it as it's super technical, or they look at what I do from a pen testing standpoint and think that that's the job. There are literally jobs in cybersecurity where you really don't have to be super technical. I mean, there's technical writers, digital forensics. Like that's something that I'm trying to get my daughter into now because she's another one that has a mind for it.
Nice.
There's so many things that you can do with tech that don't require you to be super technical. Just have that analytical brain. And honestly, stuff like that going through social media, like how many times have you gone on something and maybe you're like hours behind of what's going on, so you might get like the tail end of the story and you're going, wait, what happened? And now the next thing you know, you're going from here to Twitter to Instagram to TikTok, to go back and forth, and then go to get all the pieces of the story so you can go, all right, here's the tea. So but it's true, right? For men and women, right? Because I do it too. Like, shoot, we saw what happened with the other day with someone posting the fake PNP stuff. Search. It was like, wait,
Lord,
who? They're posting fake search. Who's posting fake?
Right. Who's
right?
10 minutes later, we done got LinkedIn with there's a LinkedIn page. There's the post. There's the plug. So again, these are all things that people pay good money for. So and I think the other thing is for the future, like the kids. Like I feel like even if the kids don't want to get into tech or cybersecurity, I'm not like forcing my kids to get into it, but I'm making them know about it, right? So like my son wants to be an architect. My daughter wants to move and she knows she wants to be doing something in criminal justice. And I'm like, that's great, but you're gonna learn about the basics of tech, and you're gonna learn the basics of cloud. So this way, if you don't, let's say you change your mind, or let's say you graduate and you can't find a job, you have something that you can fall back on and start with a decent salary. And that's how I think we need to again go back to getting ahead. Yeah. Or at least catching up, because again, they are years ahead of us, but they're still behind. So we got to catch up. We got to catch ourselves up too.
That's great points. We're teaching our girls about cyber safety too, because they play Roblox, they play Minecraft, and you got to really be careful with what's going on there, especially with YouTube. So
I constantly have to tell my girls, because what happens is they find little YouTube pages and saying, "Oh, you'll get free Robux. Just go to this link," and I'm like, "Don't click that link."
And then when they get older, you have to worry about certain things, with social media, because that, what. I'm right. I'm probably gonna get in trouble, but no. Like again, my conspiracy theory brain. But if you look back,
we're gonna sidebar on that one.
if you look back to, I think about somewhere between 2012 and 2015, the rise of social media and the rise of smartphones becoming more easily accessible.
Yes.
There's a correlation, and they won't admit it, but there's a correlation between childhood suicides, especially in young women, with phones and social
Phones.
media.
Yeah.
And when you look into it, it's because, you know, whether it's, you know, they look on stuff with body dysmorphia or whatever the case may be,
Yes.
they feel like that this is
Yes.
how they're supposed to look or whatever. Now they're sad, and now they're getting bullied. Now they're getting picked on, and now they have, and when we were younger, I mean, I'm a little bit older than y'all, but when we were younger, yes, we dealt with bullies, but you know what? We knew that in most cases, we would go home and we would at least have the day before we had to deal with them again, right?
Yeah.
Or we were told to deal with it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get into how we dealt with it, but we dealt
right,
with it.
Right.
Now, not only do they get bullied in school, it follows them home, because now everybody's talking on here and they're posting and they're this and that, and then people are resharing and sharing and posting and texting, and you gonna go for that? You going, you know, so now you're forcing these issues, and it's putting it is so I like that you're saying you're teaching them from young to be mindful of that, be mindful of the links that they click, you know, because again, you know, these are definitely things that they have to look out for.
True.
So now with all of that in mind, y'all decide, while you're on this path of getting into cybersecurity, while your wife is, you know, interested in tech, but you know, she's not quite in the game, y'all decide, hey, you know what? We're gonna start a clothing brand from scratch.
Yes.
Now, most people, when they kind of venture off into another business, it's somewhat related, right? So for example, what I'm doing with the esports and tech center, it's still going to be tech training.
True.
This is, I mean, yes, there's graphic stuff on there that represent cybersecurity, but clothing and tech are two different sides of the spectrum. What was that like to come up with the idea to say, you know what, let's come up with a clothing line?
I think you could take this one.
So the brains of the operation. I get it.
Oh Lord. Because you know what's funny? Clothing has a way of displaying a message for you. It kind of speaks for you. And clothing has a way of bringing a community. And it does have a way of sparking interest. Clothing is like the catalyst for a lot of things. If you look throughout the hands of time, fashion has inspired a lot of things. So, and before we started Techky Apparel, we actually had a cell phone and like laptop sleeves. We did Techky accessories.
Yeah.
And then we were like, okay, let's change things up. Let's do Techky Apparel. So I just think having the clothes do the talking and then us styling it up, it just merged beautifully. Like everything with what it's saying. And we like to use a lot of wordplay with our designs too. But yeah, fashion has a way of creating conversations. And if you want to stop someone in their tracks, have a nice design on a shirt. Have a nice slogan. You know, something that says digital entrepreneur, or like what his shirt says, nothing's artificial about my intelligence. That will spark conversation because people will say, oh, that's cool. And then you can get right in there and start talking to them about tech. Like when I had on my Women in Tech shirt that we have on our website, people at Publix were like, oh, women in tech. I didn't know that. So fashion has a way of creating conversations, and then you can take it a step from there.
Nice. I like that. I like
now,
that.
Go ahead. Also give a backstory on that too. When I first got into tech as well, my thing was I was so hyped to get into tech too, because I thought that, you know, as being an African-American guy in, you know, United States, that I would get the respect that I thought I would get by wearing a shirt and tie. And I was up for a rude awakening when I finally got my foot in there, and the respect was not there. They didn't care. It wasn't about that. It was like, at the end of the day, how I felt down about myself because I was like, man, I was just so ready. I love this field. And I was like, okay, cool. I get to wear the shirt and tie and stuff like that. And they're like, yeah, whatever. Like to the point my boss was even telling me like, yo, take that off before they start making us all wear it. And he was like, take that off before they make us all wear it.
They wear t-shirts like these.
You know, and that's the crazy part about it was, and I was like, okay, cool. Let me dress down and be more comfortable with how I normally would dress outside of my field, right? And when it came down to that point, and when, like how she said, when I don't only do it with her when I'm breaking down something, when I'm fixing something, but I do it with the customers I would go to too, or when we were working at the hospital, we called them our we call them our users, right? So I would take care of majority of our doctors at the hospital, and they would call my boss back and be like, yo, who's that black kid who's coming to my office because he breaks things, he fixes our things, and not only does he fix our things, but he also breaks down what he did and how we could prevent it from happening again. And he was like, he called me to his office, was like, what are you doing? And I'm telling him, I'm like, hey, I'm just breaking down to the people what I'm doing. And I realized, I was like, it's not about the clothes. It's about what was up here. So I was like, I can wear whatever I want to wear. And actually now, after we moved to Georgia, I get so many people who are not of our culture who will pull me to the side and be like, I'm looking at your shirt. I'm trying to figure out, are you in tech? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, man, that shirt is dope. Or that hoodie is dope. And it's like, look, now they're understanding that. Oh, we coming in, we're kicking the door down.
Right.
So I like the conversations that we're starting to have with it.
Yeah. Now I remember. So, and again, I think it's a culture thing, right? Because we're always told dress for the job you want to have. You know, always dress, always be presentable, always dress appropriate. I teach this to we teach this to our own kids. You know, always be presentable, never leave the house looking crazy. And for me, it was the same thing. Like I worked a couple corporate jobs, so I had to wear the shirt and the slacks. But then when I got into cybersecurity and I got into like my first AppSec shop or my first hacker shop, I remember walking in and I'm suited and booted. And somebody came in with like a t-shirt, ripped shorts, and like open toe flip-flop sandals. And I remember sitting in my cube like, yo, what? What happened? And all of like, right? And I'm like, right? And in my head, I'm still going, nope, because the one time that I do it, it's gonna be a problem.
They gonna say something.
And then but after a while, like, literally like 6 months in, I started noticing I'm trained. Okay, so maybe Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I'll dress, and then Friday I'll come in with a t-shirt. Right. And then it was like, okay, maybe Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And you know what I'm saying? And like I said, I'll still dress up, it's not suited and booted anymore.
Right.
Because it's still ingrained in my head that I still need to move differently, because I might be looked at differently. And that's another conversation for another day.
Yeah.
But again, and then when I started doing the t-shirts and stuff, it was like their shirts are cool, but that's not me, right?
Yeah,
I'll rock a graphic t-shirt with like some comic book stuff on there, but like, they got some other shirts and stuff. Then it's just like, I don't get
this wasn't hitting.
Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I definitely like, that you're doing something for the culture and stuff like that. And we are going to get into your overall goal with the Techky clothing brand, as well as some other stuff, but I got to do my affiliate highlight for the show, which once again, it is NordVPN. Yes, it's still NordVPN. So just hold tight for about 30 seconds and we'll be right back.
Sure.
Stuck at home? Make the most of the internet with NordVPN. As you're trying out new apps to save you from boredom, NordVPN will make sure that your data is always protected. And you can still travel, well, virtually, by connecting to VPN servers in almost 60 countries. Up for a new gaming challenge? Make sure that cyber threats don't get in your way. Feeling curious? Access the news from all over the world firsthand. Get the app now. NordVPN. Online security starts with a click.
And again, thank you to the affiliate NordVPN. Y'all playing around during the break. Come on,
we're trying to make sure our boss is looking at the camera.
Yeah,
I'm like,
shout out to NordVPN for the affiliate link. Again, they are doing a 2-year promotion for a subscription. It's like 60% off. It might be a little off here and there, but when you do click that link and purchase anything, it does go back to us. We do get a little something on the side to help with the show, so we can keep it free flowing and everything. And I'm not, beholden to corporate sponsors. So for those who are just tuning in, this is InfoSec Unplugged, and I am speaking with husband and wife and business partners, Jack and Kenau Victor from the Techky Apparel Clothing Line. So we were talking about how they got started, their interest in tech, Jack's currently moving into cybersecurity, and then the decision to jump into the clothing business. So now we talk a lot about transferable skills, right? And I think we talked about it briefly, Jack and I, when we were talking about you getting started and kind of being like the family in-house tech person. Would you say there were any transferable skills when taking your knowledge of technology or cybersecurity and now moving it into your clothing brand?
That's a good one. Okay, so it was nothing that I was utilizing, but I believe I also, when I was a child, I actually had a background in art. So, but at one point it came to a point where I was like, okay, how am I going to make money? Because, you got to put your art somewhere and somebody has to buy it. So I kind of left that life behind. And what I feel as if how technology has advanced and graphic designing has been out there and stuff like that, even though I haven't dabbled in too much into it, it's almost like I'm able to bring that child back out of me that is now creating things for the everyday people in this space. So now it's like, man, like sometimes, I mean, we were talking about it on another interview where I had these two designs. Actually, I've been working on these two designs for about months now. And what had happened was I could not shake the idea. I would come home, be tired and exhausted, and I'll be laying down and almost having like the same effect you had. You'll be sleeping and you're like, and I'm like, I got to finish up this design because it just kept sitting on my mind. So I would say that it wasn't nothing that I was utilizing, but this was able to grab me into getting in
or getting back into your art.
Exactly. Bring
love
typically
of art.
like graphic designing in a sense, which is tech wise, and was able to implement it onto the designs.
Nice. And a lot of things with art, I would still say is transferable skills anyway, because one of the things with tech and cybersecurity is the ability to think outside the box. Most of the people who think outside the box are usually the artists. So, so again, there's some more stuff there that are transferable. So, I mean, so outside of just the art side of things, was there, and like I said, is there any other things that you look at maybe? So like for me, when I do certain things with my shirts, which again, I'm doing this like mine, but it's yours. But like, I'll look at certain analytics, and again, that's just something that I do. I look at trends, I look at anomalies, I look at what other people might be doing, and then again, I try to think outside the box. So, like one of the more popular designs that I came up was the "I am a hacker" shirt, and then on the back, it was like, I don't work for a foreign country. I will not fix your computer. I will not fix your boyfriend. Right. And I did that because for months, these are the things that I kept getting.
Yeah.
Right. Especially on social media. Hey, can you check my girlfriend's account? No.
Yeah. Right.
Seek help. Right.
Yeah. Right.
But like I said, I would apply that to go, okay, this is what they think. So this is what I'm gonna put on there. So there's definitely some transferable stuff, but there's also struggles.
Yes.
Now I'm assuming, right? I mean, you talked about it that everybody works full time or everybody works.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
So talk about that, because one of the things that I'm struggling with right now, especially, I mean, just with the show, but now I'm even adding on, and I have a whole physical space that I'm building and developing.
Oh, wow.
Is doing that while running a business and working full time and still taking care of my duties as husband and father. So talk about some of the struggles with dealing with that and how you overcome them, even if it's just for a short time.
Right.
I feel like if I don't grab him by his collar, he'll stay on whatever he's working on. And I do have to remind him, like, hey, you got the kids, you got me, we got a dog now. So we just have to be mindful and always present. You know what they say, omnipresent? Yeah. Because if we don't get organized, a lot of stuff we have to automate. So like if we're going to send out emails, if we're going to create posts, we got to do like batch content, have stuff pre-scheduled, have, emails already scheduled to go out on certain days. Because if you don't have those things automated, then it's definitely going to take away from, your family time and your rest. And I'm really big on rest, especially on Sundays. For some reason, Sundays just feel like a restful church family day. So yeah, definitely being organized, being mindful, and having a lot of stuff automated will help you with working your 9 to 5 and working your business.
Well, I mean, what's the book say on the 7th day?
Yeah, right.
My father-in-law used to say that, or he still says that. He's like, yeah, I'm not working on a Sunday. No, that's a sin, right? So, but yeah, I said, and I might need to talk to y'all as far as some of the automation stuff, because that is something that I'm trying to do now. But even getting the stuff prepped for automation, is a task in itself. So, whether it's scheduling the posts, like when I realized I can schedule Instagram posts, it was like, and I still haven't done it fully yet, right? But yeah, I think that's something that definitely will help with a lot of things. And like you said, it's trying to stay present in everything. Like, my kids are a little bit older, and like, when they were younger, you definitely made sure you took a step back. Like I was in consulting, right? So I was doing the pen testing on the consulting side for a little while. So I was pretty much out of the home, almost every other week. Pen test. So I'm gone Sunday, I'm back Friday. Home Saturday, Sunday. Sometimes I'm right back out again Sunday. And then after a while, again, at my wife, and this is why I say it's important to have that, somebody in your corner. I don't care who it is, but somebody who you love and trust in your corner to pull you to the side and say, hey, bring it.
Right.
True.
Bring it in.
Bring it in. Because, my wife was seeing things because I literally was not there. And, it was a tough decision. I ended up actually even taking a pay cut to take that job. But like you said, you want to be present, because I didn't want to be the parent where it was like, yeah, we have this life and we have this lifestyle, but we're not. I don't see my dad, or I don't know my dad.
Right.
So, you have to make those, you do have to make those sacrifices or those balances. And honestly, I struggle with that as well. Again, the job is ever changing, and Jack, you'll see it once you get into it. You'll see, like, you'll be good and be like, I'm here now. And then in about a week from now, you'll go, shit, I don't know nothing that's going on. And now you're back, and that's the thing with cybersecurity. It can be exciting. That's why I got into it, because I got to the point in the help desk where I could literally just
do it with your eyes closed.
Right. And then cybersecurity, like I said, it's always changing. We went from network to web app to now we got APIs, and then the APIs are different. We went from REST APIs to GraphQL, so there's always something new to learn and exciting and challenging. But with that being said, it is very time consuming, and it can take away from that balance. So again, it is important to have that balance. That person. And then, like you said, that automation thing. So I don't know. Y'all might need to put out a course or on how to automate it. I'll pay for it. I'm just not paying like $4,000. Like, we ain't doing no super expensive boot camp.
Exactly right. That's right.
So, but on the topic of spouses,
yes.
My wife, she's also an entrepreneur. She has her own custom cake business. So shout out.
Nice.
One's Dream Cakes and Treats. You go check it out. So she's been doing it, and I'll say in front of all of these people that she's honestly been my biggest supporter, my biggest support of source of inspiration. And even as I jump down this endeavor with this new endeavor I'm taking on, she's there, right? She's there with me every step of the way, and I know I annoy the hell out of her. And but with that being said, she works in a completely different industry, right? She has a completely different business. So even though she can give me an outside opinion, or she can give me her take, we don't we're not, you know what I'm saying? We're not there in this on the same page because we're literally not in the same space. I can't tell her, like I can give her an opinion on how a cake look, but I can't tell her how to do certain things with cakes and vice versa.
Right.
True.
That being said, y'all are a married couple and business partners and 50-50 on everything, literally everything, including the business. So talk about, you know, the benefits as well as some of the, and again, going back, if you want to tell me to mind my damn business, go right ahead. But talk about, you know, the benefits as well as some of the struggles of, you know, working with your spouse in that close vicinity in the same space.
True. Good.
Yeah. I want to let her go first. Let her go first.
That's all.
You know what's funny? I think one of the benefits is because we are friends just as much as we are married. So it's so nice to do a journey together.
Hold on, man. Hold on.
Hold the teacup now.
Yeah, I got. Let me get back on camera real quick. Go on.
There you go.
All right, there we go.
Right. You know what I'm saying? You got to be lovers and friends, right?
Yes.
So we are friends and we are doing this journey together. That's just so cool. And I honestly didn't want to see him struggling with this by himself because I know how hard it is to run a business.
Yeah.
So I said, you know what? Let me help him out. Let me get in on this thing. And I'm sort of like an administrative HR type of gal.
Yes.
So I was like, I can do a lot of the admin, a lot of the background stuff because I don't feel like I'm as creative. But now the flip side, talking about designs, a lot of my posts, he won't put up. So, so we're literally squabbling like cats and dogs. And it's just, and then if he doesn't post on time, I'm squabbling with him. If he doesn't make me edit the post, because I'm big on grammar. Like if it's like typos, I get like twitchy. So I say, why did you post that without me? So if he posts stuff without me, you know, I just need the communication. So sometimes we're literally here fussing and, you know, arguing. But after a while, after we be like, okay, I see what you're saying. Then it kind of smoothes out. But yeah, I do have to beat him up sometimes.
No, look, I get it. Like I said, there are times, you know, when my wife with her business and stuff. And it's funny that you said you do the admin stuff because the first thing that popped in my head was Mary J. Blige. I was your lover and your secretary. That's the only time you're gonna get me to sing on the show.
Right.
I didn't think of that.
But no, I do that. I do that all the time in the house. Like I'm like you my lover and my secretary. Right?
Yes.
I'm like, I mean, I get it for the sense of the song, but what the hell is a secretary? But anyway.
I love it.
But yeah, you know, but again, I think that's that. But to your point, Keena, it's definitely important to have that relationship and have that trust because that's all it boils down to. Like my wife can tell me things that I can hear from anybody else, and I'm gonna tell them what to do with themselves and how to do it. Yeah. My wife knows how to say it. My wife knows when to say it, and my wife, you know what I'm saying? So, and again, she knows that I value her opinion pretty much more than anybody else out there. So, like I said, I keep going back to it. It's important to have someone who you love and trust that you know it's genuine, right? Because there's a lot of people who will tell you what you want to hear just for the sake of their own benefit. Like my wife will tell me, like, we'll get off the air tonight, and she'll go, "That was a great show," and I'll go, But right, where's the but? And she'll and then some days she'll come back and go this and this. Yeah. Sometimes they haven't shut the hell up, you know, let them talk. And then sometimes she'll be like, no, it was a good show, right? But again, only she can do that. She can't. Yeah. Well, no, I'm not gonna lie. Now that my kids watch the show, they'll come and check. Yeah, like my son told me the other day, my first episode back when I was kind of going into everything that I was struggling with and going through. Like my son came back and was like, "Dad," he's like, "It was so depressing." He's like, "You're on the show." Like, "Yeah, guys, thank you for joining. I hate life." They you know, they're at that age where they clown.
They're honest, brutal.
But yeah, but again, but like I said, I value it because I know it, you know, it's coming from a genuine place.
Right.
So, you know, having that in the back of your mind, even when you're mad, right? Because there are times where my wife will say certain things and I don't agree with it, whatever, and I'm pissed. But in the back of my head, I'm going, she's not being malicious. She's not,
right.
You know. So, you know, I think that's definitely important. So, you know, I love that. And I see in the chat, there's hashtag Black Tech Love. Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's right.
But before we wrap up, one of the other things I see you do, and you've even reached out to me, and the timing wasn't right. Not only do you do, you know, your own careers, not only do you have your business, not only do y'all work together as a unit, y'all also help with mentoring and going into the schools and stuff like that. And for me, I love that, right? I think that's important. I think it goes back to what we talked about getting our kids to use their advantages that they have now to set them up for life. So talk about that. Talk about your passion for that, and you know how that came about and how that came to be, and you know some of the stuff that you do.
Man, listen. So when the opportunity came to us, I was so nervous. My wife had always been the person who loved teaching, and when you talk about kids,
because I used to teach. I used to teach at the church.
Exactly. So show off somebody about some kids. You feel me? So when it came down to it,
I don't play about.
When it came down to it, I was so nervous because I'm normally not the talker, and I may seem like the talker, but I'm really like very self-conscious of me talking and speaking and stuff like that. But I'm getting a lot more comfortable because of my help here, you know. So she's been really kind of like telling me how to posture myself, and I feel confident after she tells me, you know, how to go about it. But when we got the opportunity to go on and go speak at the school, I was so nervous, just like I was nervous to do this interview as well. But I'm telling you, when you see how the kids lit up, and it was so interesting because this was obviously in the low income type of school where they really was not teaching the kids about tech. So when I walked in there, you know, we always gonna wear our gear. So when we walked in there, they were like, okay, what are they gonna teach us? And I'm like, we're about to teach y'all tech. And the kids was like, what? Wait a minute. Like, hold up, whoa. How y'all gonna teach us tech? Y'all dressed like that? And I was like, oh, y'all didn't think techs could dress like this. And I'm telling you, they smiled from ear to ear because
and the fact that we're Black in tech.
That too.
Because, you know, it was a predominantly Black school, and the teacher was telling us, hey, these kids are going to really love hearing from you guys because you're the same complexion as them.
Correct.
And you're teaching something that's so interesting and like not the norm for our community. So that was like the highlight of the day, right?
Yeah, that was the highlight. And then the fact of the matter is where we parked our car at when we were about to leave, the kids were banging on the window.
Oh yeah, they loved it.
And they were waving at us and they were telling us how much they loved our class out of all of the other people who came out and volunteered. So that like literally brought me on 10 when it comes down to going back and reaching out and speaking to the kids. And I told anybody, anytime I have to take off to go and do that, I'm taking off and I'm doing it because these kids really are yearning for that type of representation. If you guys do get the opportunity to go either on my personal page or on the business page and go back and look at how excited the kids are, you can hear it in their voices. They were so excited to see somebody that looked like me, who looked like my wife, that was out there doing something that was really impactful to the world. And like we all know, tech is really shifting a lot of things that's going on in the world right now, and they need to be a part of it. And they can't be a part of it if they don't see it, they don't hear about it, they don't know about it. So we're here to do that. I'm telling you, we're here to do that.
But it was a part of Plantlanta, though. Like the guy reached out to us. It's like a Plantlanta type of thing they do. They teach the kids how to plant and other little fun stuff. Yeah. So we're gonna do it again this year too.
Yes.
Oh, like I said, let me know. Let me know. Like I said, the last time I don't know if I was out of town or whatever. But whatever it is, if as soon as you get a date, let me know, man. Because I think that's important. You know, this is where, going back to the conversation we were talking about, you know, we're not excluding nobody, but this is where we ain't excluding y'all, but this ain't about y'all right now. This is
hold up. Let's bring up the part of this too. What also kind of was like a little, I wouldn't say discomforting, but it was a little bit of an eye opener, was that when we first moved to the neighborhood that we moved into, we didn't, because we were moving from Florida. We'd never been anywhere outside of Florida. when we moved to the neighborhood we moved to, and our kids went to school, and we didn't know that it was a predominantly white school, they were teaching them everything pertaining to tech.
Oh, STEM.
And we were like,
they're very STEM based. So you can see the difference between the underserved communities and where we live, you know. Yeah.
I mean, that was the wrong button. But that was but seriously, when we left, we're originally from Connecticut, and we're not from that part of Connecticut. We're from the other part of Connecticut.
Okay.
But that was eye-opening to me. And not for nothing, when we decided to move to where we ended up moving to in Georgia, the main reason was the school system, right? It's a little bit more pricey where we are. Yeah. But when you look at what they're doing in the school system, and the kids are thriving, right? I will happily pay extra taxes and town taxes, because I see it. I see where it goes. Right. I see the new computers that they're getting. I see the technology that they're exposed to. I see this. My daughter's taking AP classes in chemistry and stuff. Like, these are things that we didn't get where we were from, right? And we and my wife and I still did well for ourselves, but it was just the opportunities. And then to your point about going and seeing kids, or having the kids see someone that looks like them, there's something satisfying about when you can see the moment their eyes open and they come to the realization that I can do this.
Yes, that's what it was.
Yes.
Right? That to me is worth all of it, right? And don't get me wrong, sometimes Keena, you talked about it earlier, how Jack will break it down, and you even talked about it, Jack, where you talk about, you break it down to simple terms, and that's one of the first things they tell you in tech, especially when you're in the help desk role. You got to break it down. You got to essentially dumb it down, right? I think that transferred into my cybersecurity stuff, because now when I go into a room, I can speak to 3 different audiences. I can speak to the CEOs who know nothing about tech. I can speak to the mid-management who know a little bit, and then I can get down in the weeds with the tech folk, the network admins and stuff like that. And you have to do that, right? Especially if you're breaking down like, if I go to a pen test, the CEO don't care how I found a SQL injection vulnerability. They just want to know, how bad is it and how much is it going to cost?
Exactly.
Right. So the first page is literally not even the first page. Sometimes the first paragraph of a 100-page report. That's all they care about.
Right.
And, so you have, you speak to that audience, but when you break it down to a child's level and you see that moment where that light bulb hits and it goes, that to me is worth it. That to me is the goal. Right? Because college isn't for everybody, right? I didn't go to college. But I was able to do this. Yes, there's a lot of certifications, a lot of training, and a lot of hands-on stuff involved. But I was able to do this without having to go to college.
Having to do that.
And yes, I'm not balling, right? I'm not rich. But I feel like having it, letting the kids see, okay, I'm not doing too bad. And it's me, and it's me talking to them, it's me talking their language. Like I said, when it's something that just about all of that brings it together, that to me is like, okay, this is what we need to do. So again, kudos to y'all for doing that. And like I said, anytime y'all get anything, let me know. So we about to wrap up. So do you have any tips you want to share on balancing family and entrepreneurship and cybersecurity or tech? Me?
Well, listen, I'm still learning how to balance everything out. But as far as, if we could talk on the tech spectrum, I know, especially for the newcomers who are becoming interested in it, I don't know, we didn't get a chance to talk about it, but based upon us starting this clothing brand, we've had people from the outside of this space call us, DM us, family members, friends, former acquaintances that we used to have that would now be interested because they see how much we're putting into this brand to project what tech can actually provide and how life-changing it could be, because it definitely changed our life compared to how we were living before. And when I finally got my foot in, it was a difference. So I would say keep going, keep pushing, don't give up. Some people who don't know my story, I failed the A+ certification 7 times before I actually passed it. So I didn't stop. I kept going because I knew what the end goal was. I knew that eventually I would be able to do it. I got over my nervousness, and we're here now.
Okay, and Kenau, what about you? As far as the same question for you, and then I'll also add on as far and any tips for for those who want to help on reeling their partners in from time to time and keeping keeping them balanced. So
because like you were saying, like you guys were saying, the tech space is very time consuming. So be present. Be organized, because I'm such an organized person. He works really well off of lists. So have a list, have your plan, have your bullet points of what you're going to do in each day so that you're not doing too much, or so that you're not feeling like you're doing too little and not getting anything accomplished. So organization, be present, have your list. If you're an entrepreneur, like I said earlier, automate some stuff, do some batch content creating, do a lot of networking and research. Sometimes do your own research. Sometimes you're not going to get information all the time from other people. They might be busy or whatever. So do your own research, but definitely find that time to take care of you, self-care. Because I know a lot of times people in tech, you guys are stuck on the computer. And have an accountability partner. Yeah. Like, it's always good to have an accountability partner, somebody who will get you focused in. Like, if you're not married, it could be a friend, it could be a family member. So just have someone that you can go to, and vice versa, that can hold you accountable for when you're drifting off and not having that balance.
Sure.
Absolutely. Yep. And I'm gonna say, shout out to you, because clearly you're the wheels that push the operation.
Yes.
So, and speaking of wheels that run the operation, shout out to my mom. She's in the chat tonight. I'm gonna actually give her a round of applause.
Oh, hey, Mom.
I was talking about you earlier when I said y'all had the stereo system and waited till I came home from leave to put it together. But she's another one, like I said, watching how her and my stepdad, how they operated with his businesses that he was running and how she helped him run it and everything, that was definitely an inspiration for me to then see how, when my wife then moved into entrepreneurship and, we started out with catering. So we were doing full service catering, and it was me, it was me and her lockstep. Well, I wouldn't say lockstep. I always told her, you reach out to me when you absolutely need me. Because she's the it's funny, like, you see me doing the show, but she was the face, she was the friendly person. Like, I'm not that customer service oriented, especially in the food service
Neither
business.
is he.
Yeah. So she would say, I'd be in there and I'm like, and my wife is like, don't you go out there and act a damn fool, right? And then when she moved into the with the cake stuff, again, I'm her biggest cheerleader and biggest taste tester. So
nice. There you go.
But like I said, seeing how things operate, and like I said, helping out where I can, and now her returning the favor with me and everything. So that's big. So shout out to moms, shout out to my wife, shout out to all y'all in the chat. But before we go, Jack, I know you've seen the show, and if you've seen it as well, you know what I'm about to ask. But if you don't, what is your why?
What's my why? I feel like Techky Apparel has like a million whys.
You got another hour for us? I could brief it up a little bit. It's like we said before, and if anybody doesn't know about any of our content or what you call it, definitely go back to it. Our why is so big; it's bigger than us. In the beginning, it definitely started off as something that we could have pivoted into, and now we've noticed that the why is bigger than what we are doing now.
My why is the change.
Yeah,
I want to see progression. I want to see change. I want to see movement in a different direction.
Yeah.
I feel like Will Smith and iRobot, where he's like, the robots are going to take over and nobody's listening. So I kind of want to be that voice in the wilderness because people need this information. You know, sharing is caring.
Yeah.
So another one of my whys is serving. I love to serve. I love to do things for people.
True.
And knowledge is power. Ever since I was little, I love that little phrase. Knowledge is power. Once you have that knowledge, spread it.
Yeah.
So that's another reason why we do this. We want the knowledge of tech. We want people getting into this digital space because it is taking over, and we don't want machines replacing you.
Yeah.
So we want you to get behind these machines. True. So I'm doing to people what I would want someone to do for me. Yeah. So my why is also, in addition to serving, is I want to just share what I wish I knew.
Yeah.
And we don't leave anybody in the dark.
We don't want to sound cliche when we say that we want to be that person that we wish we had when we were going through a certain point in life or whatnot like that. But specifically to this tech space, I wish I knew. And, you know, I mean, I guess this is a part of the journey that you can be a difference. Like you said in the beginning, nobody's never seen this. And how do you collide the two into one space? And I know one time we did research, and the funny part about it is when you do research as far as the most talked about topics is fashion and tech. And they're like right beside each other. And if anything, it's probably tech, then fashion. And I'm like, man, we're just colliding things together. And being that I'm in tech, I like to do little cryptic things. So sometimes some of the designs that we have or whatnot like that, it's like really a deeper meaning in my mind, but it still comes out simple enough for people to understand that they get my meaning across, but you know, it's bigger than us, you know?
Yeah. It's bigger than the brand.
I love it. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Thank you for being a guest.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you for having us.
I told y'all no need to be nervous.
Right? I know it's me and these cameras. I'm more of a face-to-face in person.
Hey, well, you know what? Hey, we got to set that up, man. Like,
yeah,
you know,
for sure.
We in the same state. I know we've missed each other a couple times, but like I said, we got to set that up. You know, with the space we building out. You know, definitely gonna have to, you know, set something up. Hey, bring a couple shirts in there. Maybe we sell it out the shop. So we gonna have to work on a couple things, man. But
we got a lot of things we gotta work on, man. We can't be this close in the same state. We just over here virtually talking. Come on, now, this ain't COVID.
Hey, look. I'm saying we gotta do it. So, all right, so ladies and gentlemen, these have been my guests. Please thank Jack and Kenau Victor for being on the show tonight. I said I appreciate y'all, you know, sharing your knowledge, taking the time out. Again, y'all got a busy schedule. We know it. So I'm gonna let y'all go. I appreciate y'all. Again, what y'all are doing in the space is absolutely amazing and necessary. And I'm gonna need to grab a copy of both of them shirts. So we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put the information back on there. So look up techkyapparel.com. And in the meantime, why don't you tell everybody how to find you?
You can find us on majority of our social media platforms at Techky Apparel. Or if you're looking at us on Twitter, it's going to be Techky A, because they would not give us the apparel for some reason. But we're there.
Techky A.
You know, Techky A. So we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on TikTok. We're trying to hit everybody from every angle. If you don't follow one of the other platforms, we're on the other one. So
yeah, it's pretty much Techky Apparel all across the board.
All across the board.
And it's spelled TECHKY. And I think he put the spelling up there. So thank you.
Nah, right there. Like I said, we have it in. Well, it was there. I mean,
it
was there. You know, I'm still getting used to these things. You know,
there you go.
I know, right?
There we go. No, boom, there it is, right there. All right, so I put myself back on. So again, it is Techky Apparel. So TECHKY apparel.com. Go check it out. Like I said, they got some amazing stuff. You know, go support #the Victors. I see it right there. So they're double meaning for it too. But again, this has been another episode of InfoSec Unplugged. I have been your host, Davin Jackson. Again, thank y'all for rocking out with me. You know, I feel like I just want to say thank y'all for making this recent run of the show probably the most fun I've had in a really
Yes, thank you. This was fun. Thank you.
So, you know, but yes, I will thank y'all. I appreciate y'all, and I will see y'all next week with another guest live. Same channel, same time, you know, all of that good stuff. So until then, take care of yourselves, enjoy your weekend, and we're almost there. So just get through Friday and you know, and enjoy your weekends, and happy Easter, everybody. So y'all take care.
Happy Easter.
Peace.